You should notice when you are arguing how you get emotionally triggered in that argument and wonder why that is. See, this is sort of where I started my whole journey into epistemology. Is I would have these arguments with my religious friends in high school, and I would get triggered emotionally in these arguments. And I thought that I had a strong, very strong scientific, materialistic, skeptical position, atheistic position that I was arguing from. I thought it was true. So to me, when I started to feel inwards, it puzzled me. I'm having these arguments with these religious fools. That's how I thought of them. Religious fundamentalist fools who are trying to, peddle their stupid Christian ideas to me. I'm arguing with them. I know my arguments are on firm ground. I know that what they're trying to pitch to me is delusion, and yet I feel there's something missing here. Why do I get emotionally triggered in these arguments? What is that about? Could that be because on some even deeper subconscious level, I'm unsure about my own positions? I have certain doubts. There are certain inconsistencies which I am hiding from my own self. And sure enough, that's exactly what there was. But I had to really go deep inwards. See, most people, they don't do that when they're arguing. Most people, when they're arguing, that argument is just it's just all externalized. They're just spouting their ideas. They're not actually questioning their own positions. They're not feeling into their own biases and attachments. They're not looking into the underlying fears that might be sourcing this argument. Because if you were really in possession of the truth, you wouldn't argue about it. There would be no argument. And there would be no insecurity. And there would be no emotional reactivity and triggering. And you wouldn't feel dirty or bad about it. But see, when you feel into something and you feel it's kind of dirty, you feel it's limiting, you feel it just feel, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't feel right. That's a little clue that your higher self is sending to you that, hey, maybe you're fooling yourself here. You need to be able to introspect and notice when your ego uses logic in selfish ways. People love to use logic without any ounce of introspection. They just spout logic without any recognition of the possibility that the logic they're using has been co-opted by their ego and infested at its root with self-biases and self-deception. How do you know the ego hasn't corrupted your entire logical system? The way you find out is by introspecting, watching yourself using your logic and wondering what's really going on there. What is sourcing this logic? How can you trust this logic? And if you do that, I guarantee you that you will notice that your logic is utterly corrupt and infested with self-bias. There's nothing objective or scientific about the way that the human mind uses logic in thinking about the reality and making sense of reality. It's utterly selfish and it's utterly untruthful. You need to be able to notice and admit when you truly don't know a thing, but you're pretending like you do. This is a huge one. You should immediately recognize this within yourself. Times when you are acting like you know a thing when really you don't know it. How do you know when you know a thing and when you don't? Again, you feel inwards. You don't ask a scientist. You don't go read and consult the Bible to tell you whether you really know a thing. You don't talk to some guru or ask him a question like, hey, do I really know God? Do I really know? Am I really awake? No. That doesn't work. If you're asking a guru if you're really awake or if you really know God, then you're not awake and you don't know God. I have people coming to me like this all the time asking me, Leo, here's what I think love is. Is this really what it is? Tell me, is this what love is? Is this what God is? Is this what enlightenment is? But if you're asking that question, it already tells me you don't know. You're just pretending like you do. You're hoping that you know. You're guessing. You're grabbing at straws. You're speculating. You're trying to convince yourself that you know something that you really don't know. It would be a lot better if you introspected and realized, I don't know. I don't know what love is. I don't know what God is. I don't know if there even is a God. I don't know if anything Leo says is true. This would be a much more honest place for you to start with, rather than pretending like you know all these things. You see, you've watched all this material that I've supplied to you, all these answers that I've given you. Now you've programmed your mind with all these beliefs and ideas, and now you're just parroting actualized ideas and concepts. But the truth is, you don't know these things. Probably 95% of the things I say you don't know, yet you pretend like you do. Religious people. If religious people were really honest, it would be so easy for them to realize that religion is a self-deception. All you have to do is you have to go inside, any religious person, whether you're a Muslim, Jew, Christian, Hindu, whatever, whoever you worship or follow, it's very simple. Just go inside it and truly, genuinely, with full honesty, ask yourself, do I really know what God is? Do I really know what the truth is? Do I really know what awakening is? And the answer will be no, you don't. You don't know. And that's what's true for you. And that's the best place to be, is there, rather than pretending. But see, these religious people are so hooked on pretending like they know. They can't admit, a religious person can't admit even such a simple thing as, did Jesus exist? If you're a Christian right now, I want you to pause. Like, if you are really serious about truth, if you want to stop playing all the fucking games and you really want to get to the truth of religion, like, do you want to just be a Christian in name only, or do you want to actually get to the truth? If you really want to get to the truth, go inside of yourself right now and ask yourself, do I really know if Jesus even existed? And the obvious answer is no, you don't know. That's the obvious answer. That's the only possible answer that you can have. You have no idea whether Jesus actually existed. And yet, if this exercise was offered to 95% of Christians, they would not do this simple exercise. Why? Because they're so wrapped up in needing it to be true. Because if you admit that you don't even know whether Jesus is actually real, if you admit that, that's it. That's the end of your religion. So there's no way the mind can allow that. But what you should be able to do if you're really interested in truth, if you're a Christian or a Muslim, whatever, you should be able to go inside and you should be able to feel, with enough introspection, you should be able to feel your own defensiveness and denial of even wanting to do this exercise. See, your mind immediately is going to go into this kind of overdrive mode to lash out at me at what I'm saying, because you're going to have to demonize the messenger here in order to get away with this. And you're going to have to come up with some sort of rationalizations or excuses for why the very simple exercise that I'm proposing to you here isn't right. But deep down in your mind, if you do the exercise, you'll know it's right. So the only way you can deny it is by all sorts of distractions, excuses, rationalizations, and other sorts of defense mechanisms. And when your mind is employing these defense mechanisms, deep down at a subconscious level, you know it and you can feel it. But in order to feel it, you have to be willing to go inside and to feel, rather than lashing out and externalizing and projecting all of your shit onto me.